Hi and a gluten-free welcome to Steve's Kitchen and a happy Easter to you wherever you are in the world. I promised Anne over at EZGlutenfree that I would work on a gluten-free hot cross bun. Now, I've got some bad news for all of you. It isn't easy to create a lovely elastic hot cross bun. But the good news is I've come up with a recipe which I think works and tastes great. It's based on my Irish soda bread that I made some time back. And come on, let me show you how you make this gluten-free hot cross bun. Now, a number of tips I'll tell you as we go along, but I'm going to be using a combination of rice flour and tapioca flour. I've got a pound in total, about 500 grams. Now, 250 grams, half a pound of rice flour into a bowl, and 250 grams, half a pound of tapioca flour in there as well. We want some leavening agent. I've got some baking powder and baking soda, but make sure you get a gluten-free baking powder. Just 1 teaspoon of each into there. Now, this is my homemade mixed spice. A couple of teaspoons of that is going in there. You could use any pumpkin spice or mixed spice. Actually, a little bit extra, why not? I love the spice. Got 2/3 of a cup of mixed fruit, which has got some little mixed peel in there as well. Just gonna pop that in. And I'm going to add a pinch of salt, a fairly big pinch of salt on top of the fruit. And by way of sweetening, I've got some soft brown sugar, which I'm going to put a couple of tablespoons. Now you can adjust this a little bit extra if you like a sweeter roll, but I think 2 tablespoons is about right. Just gonna get my fork in there now and start to mix this through. The next ingredient is buttermilk, but be aware if you haven't got buttermilk, regular full cream milk will do. Now I'm going to add 1.5 cups of buttermilk into this. And I've got a little extra buttermilk which we'll be using to make the cross on top of our buns. Now get in here now and start to mix this up into a dough. Initially I'm using a fork, but as it starts to bind together, I'm going to get my hand in there and start to squeeze this together. Now to finish this off, I'm going to pop it onto my counter. And I'm going to continue to pull this together into a firm dough. The beauty of gluten-free dough is you can't really overwork it and make it tough. Now just keep working it until it all comes together like that into one solid dough. So there is that beautiful dough ready to make our hot cross buns. But don't go and bake it all at once, unless you're going to eat it all at once, of course. The secret to good gluten-free bread is not to bake it and keep it for too long. This sort of bread will get dry very quickly. So what I suggest you do is cover this with a damp towel, or at least seal it. And when you feel like hot cross buns, because they only take 10 or 15 minutes to bake, you can just take it out of the fridge, shake them up, pop them on a tray and bake them. Now I'm just going to bake enough for me, 6 of course, and show you how they come out. So when you and your family are ready for hot cross buns, get that oven on 200 degrees Celsius, 400 Fahrenheit. Now you know I kept a little bit of that flour aside here. I'm just going to make up a thick paste. Now I've used some of that buttermilk again, pour it in there with a teaspoon. I'm just going to mix that up until I get something to form my crosses. You're looking for something a little bit like a thick cream. Now you can pop that into a Ziploc bag and cut the corner off. I'm just going to use a little piping bag here. Pop that in there, squeeze it down, and in a minute I'll nip the end off. Here is our hot cross bun dough over here. I'm just going to break a handful off. Now, really, you can experiment with the size you like. Now, the nice thing with this dough, unlike a lot of gluten-free doughs, we can actually shape it if we want to. You can't push as hard as you could with a gluten bread, but we can shape it into little balls like this. Pop them onto a baking tray. Now I'm going to do them the traditional hot cross bun way, put them fairly close because they will rise just a little bit. Let me get on and make 6 of those. Now do expect this dough to crack a little bit like this. It's quite normal. With the dough we're not using, we're going to store that aside and use it later. Now as I said to you, we're just going to snip the end off this piping bag. And then traditional hot cross bun style, I'm just going to pipe over the top of these in one line going this way, and then the cross going over like so. So let's get them in the oven. They're going to cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. Just keep an eye on them as they puff up and get golden brown. They'll be ready. Now take a look at those. I could probably go a little bit longer and get them even darker, but I'm quite happy with them as they are. But what I am going to do is take a little bit of syrup and water, and I'm going to brush over the top and get a nice sticky surface to these hot cross buns. And you'll see the way the crack has appeared where the crosses went over. That's just a characteristic of the soda bread. When I experimented with these, I didn't put the cross on, so they didn't have these cracks, but I quite like the look of them. Now these are hot cross buns, and it's still very hot actually. I'm just going to pop them down over here. Let's just pull them apart. Wow, hot cross buns. So look at those. I think they look delicious. The house smells delicious. But the proof of the pudding, of course, is in the bun itself. Now these are still piping hot, but I'm going to break that open so you can see inside what the crumb is like. You are not going to get the same stretch as gluten, but these are a little bit too hot. But look, you can cut these open. You can butter them. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You can butter them like you could any other hot cross bun. The only thing I would say is these are best eaten before they cool down while they've still got heaps of flavour. Let me give this a try and let you know the verdict. And there's still some stretch in there. They are not a bad hot cross bun. Some of you may prefer a little extra sugar in there to make a slightly sweeter dough. I think this is just fine. I would put some butter on this, little salted butter, and eat it as is. Granted, you've got something that's a little bit of a cross between a scone and a hot cross bun, but for this Easter, if you want to give yourself that little treat, please give this a try and share the love. Give this one a thumbs up and comment down below if you've made them. Be good. So to viewers that are gluten intolerant, I hope this will give you an excuse to make something a little spicy this Easter. I'll leave a link also below to EZGlutenfree's channel because she is a wonderful source for gluten-free food. Be good, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.